welcome back. My name is Yänjaa and I'm a memory champion and polyglot. So I'm trying to learn all of the Brazilian Portuguese words in the Drops language learning app, and that's about 3,000 words, close to. And I'm trying to do it in a couple months, if not a couple weeks. I'll update you when I'm done, but I do want to talk about language learning in general because it honestly isn't enough to just learn a bunch of words. I know this because I know a couple of translators who know thousands and thousands of words of the languages that they translate between, but they can't speak a lick of those languages. There's also this guy who doesn't speak French at all, but won the French Scrabble championships because he memorized thousands of French words so that he could be the French Scrabble champion. So what is my language learning plan? The first place you should start, in my opinion, is to just learn how to focus on resourcefulness versus resources, meaning do what you can with what you have, where you are right now. So you want to create these base sentences that are super powerful and super helpful. So a very strong base sentence would be, I like, eu gosto. Now, without knowing any other word in Brazilian Portuguese, I can say a bunch of things with this. Eu gosto drops. Eu gosto Rodrigo Santoro. Even though I don't know any other nouns, I can say so many things and I can express myself about so many things. Another strong base sentence is I am. Eu sou sueca. Eu sou uma campeã de memória. And then the second part of the base sentence is to be able to negate, to talk about what you don't like or talk about what you aren't. Eu não gosto. Não sou brasileira. Não posso dizer que não gosto Rodrigo Santoro because that would be a lie. But let's say eu não gosto de ameixas. And then you can use helper words. Helper words are things that go in between two statements like but and for, because you can use them to create a longer sentence. So for example, eu não gosto de ameixas porque sou alérgica a elas. And so you can just play around with the words that you do have to create these fun sentences or boring sentences depending on how you feel. And that's another example. I know the word bored, which is entediada, and that if you are feeling something, you say estou, I am. And then maybe I want to explain it instead of just saying I'm bored. So I use my little helper word because. Estou entediada porque ela está falando muito devagar. Huge question. What words should I learn? You've probably heard of the 80-20 rule, that 20% of the effort yields 80% of the results, and you want to use that for languages as well. If you know 20% of a language, you probably understand more than 80% of the conversational language, so you shouldn't try to learn all of the words in that language, but start with the most used words. And for any language, there's always a list of the most used words. I believe Drops tries to focus on the most used words as well. And you also want to complement that with words that you use the most. So for me, I would probably say the word sueca more than most people. But if you're a farmer, you should probably learn the word o agricultor, a fazenda, eu colho. So you want to combine your most frequently used words with the most frequently used words. And how can you come up with this? So you need to just write down ideas, categories of things that you talk about the most. And in my opinion, create some base sentences. I work as a such and such. I come from there and there. So it helps to have some fallback plan, meaning some words and sentences you've already practiced saying a bunch. Because this gives you a lot of confidence that you need, especially in the beginning of your language learning journey. And so much of learning a language is about confidence and feelings, which leads me to my next point. You want to have fun with it. Be ridiculous, be silly. I think it's helpful for being able to enjoy the language learning process. So for example, while I've been learning these words, I just point at stuff because I think it's silly to be like, o bigode, as orelhas, os olhos. I know I don't have a bigode, but whatever. O cabelo. I just think it's fun to say. Os brinquedos à prova d'água. So maybe I like walking around going, o liquidificador, o cachorro, a ração de cachorro. And again, you want to string together fun sentences. Eu largo a prateleira. Eu largo meu cachorro na prateleira. So when you're having fun with it, use more of your body. Drops has the amazing added benefit of having an actual human person voice all the words and sentences. And that's tremendously helpful because when it's being said out loud, you can actually copy her speech, and you can also double tap it to have her say it slower so you can actually hear the little pronunciation nuances. Also, when you're saying it out loud, you have the added benefit of creating a muscle memory in your boca, lábios, os dentes, língua. So when she says a caixa de transporte de animais, it's so easy for me to be like, oh, okay, I can read that word. I don't need to say it out loud. But when I say it out loud, I realize maybe it's harder for me to pronounce than I thought it was. So the more you use your body and the more you practice pronouncing it, the easier it will become. Saying things out loud really helps you engage more with the words and ingrain them deeper into your mind. But then what? So you know your base sentences and you know your little helper words and you know ideas and concepts that you want to be talking about the most or that you're gonna be talking about the most. Then what? There are lots of things still left to do. At the heart of it, language is about communication, and at some point you probably want to talk to someone, unless your idea of learning a language is just walking around pointing at things saying what their name is. Now there's a lot of language learning myths out there. One big one is that you need to speak to someone from day one. I don't believe that's true because I made the mistake of having a teacher in French in my adulthood who would laugh at me or say that my pronunciation was terrible, never gave any words of encouragement. And so even though my comprehension in French is huge and I can listen to podcasts and watch movies without subtitles, my expression is still very limited because it can hinder you if you have a bad experience in the beginning. Now, if you don't care and you're so confident and you can just do it, then go ahead. But know yourself and know if you would feel comfortable speaking from day one or not. When you feel more relaxed and when you feel more comfortable, you're better able to learn. Which brings me to my next point. Learn through context. Have more input. My suggestion is just do what you find fun already, but in the new language. So if you watch a lot of Netflix, change your Netflix settings to be in that new language. If you read a lot of books, try to read simpler books, or maybe a book that you already have read in one language in the other language. So whatever you already find enjoyable and relaxing, do that. The input should be something you like, and the input should be something that's comprehensible. It doesn't mean that you need to understand 90% of what's being said, but just even 10% can be so exciting, especially in the beginning. So for example, for me, I like video games. Eu gosto os jogos de videogame. I love football. I like watching Twitch streams, and I'm learning Portuguese. So obviously, a perfect thing for me to do is to watch Neymar, the Brazilian football player, play video games on Twitch. This is also great because both in the chat and on the stream, it's actual spoken language and not these random words that you learn from language courses that say stuff that you would never say in real life, like, this is a man, the horse is brown. Hearing the words and hearing the natural language being spoken is going to be so helpful for comprehension. I like Neymar also because it is comprehensible input. He usually uses words that I understand. He's not talking about the Prussian War or something else that I don't care that much about.
Isso, ó, mão direita, tu joga a mão direita no joelho esquerdo, mão esquerda no joelho direito, bate palma na frente, bate palma atrás, cruzou os braços tocando nos ombros, tocou no ombro de novo, sem cruzar os braços e roda o peão.
And the wonderful thing about learning through context and input is that you can learn grammar more intuitively than by sitting in a classroom and memorizing a bunch of rules. Now let's talk about expression. Expression will come easily for you if you do something called the listen and pronounce method. The basic principle is that you want to listen to a native speaker and repeat after them. A célula. A célula. Added bonus is if you record and play it back. You know when you hear yourself speak in real life versus on tape and it sounds completely different? It's like that, but even more so with pronunciation. When you hear a recording of yourself, you hear pronunciation nuances way better than when you're just speaking. The main takeaway from all of this is that learning should be fun. Do what you already do that you find fun, and do it in the new language. And learn the words that you find fun. I like the contrast of having an accent and saying colloquial things. That's one of my favorite things to do in French, is to be like, ah, la bouffe, because it means like grub, like slang for food, but it's cute because of the accent, I've been told. I like learning slang and swear words, and I'm not gonna say any of them to you, but I do have a list of Brazilian Portuguese swear words as well. So if there's one takeaway from this video, you learn better by having fun. So if you'll excuse me, I have a lot of Brazilian football streams to watch and I need to learn how to curse when my team doesn't score a goal. And soon enough, I will be revealing how fast it took for me to learn all the words and how I did it. I'm so happy and so grateful you watched until the end of this video, and I'll see you next week. Bye!